Hate cards that grannies put on the bottom of their deck, welcome to Crank It Up. I'm Jim Price, and this is my Aladdin preview from the Disney expansion. Aladdin has the dual focus of discarding actions for benefits, as well as using Genie and Wish for one-time powerful abilities, making use of the banish, exile, trash, put this card back in the box mechanic. I suspect that Aladdin will be the most polarizing faction in the Disney set. I can see some players loving it and others not so much. I also strongly believe that this is a faction you need to play before your opinion can truly be solidified, with players on both sides of the fence potentially switching sides. As for me, when I first saw this faction, I immediately envisioned a box with Bandit Rule number 1 on it, and then someone smashing it to pieces. After playing it more and more, my opinion has gotten slightly better, but it is still unfortunately my least favorite faction in the set, although they can do some crazy things with the right partner. There are a lot of viewers who don't like to delve into what-if scenarios, but as I describe this faction, I feel like it has to be acknowledged that I believe that if this faction existed outside of Disney, it would be drastically different in its construction. I will, however, completely ignore the impact of the Viking rules of this set. Aladdin is the leader, but Genie is the headliner, a 3-powered minion that, in all honesty, would be a Titan otherwise. You have 3 wishes, a rare triple feature action that have 3 uses. If you have Genie in play, you can play Wish and banish it for one of 3 effects: 2 non-Wish card plays, 5 power, or 4 cards. These abilities are chosen strategically as they represent being just above the baseline for top-tier effects of comparable types. Compare 2 cards with Ghostly Arrival, 5 power with 4 from Augmentation, and 4 flat cards with Tribute. So Wish is potentially stronger than these abilities with the flexibility of choice, and all you need is Genie in play, since Genie can search for Wish. This is somewhat easy to set up, and if I weren't lazy, I'd make another flowchart. But Aladdin can search for the lamp, who can search for Genie, and the lamp recurs itself, so unless your Genie is stolen, it usually feels like an inevitability that you will want to play it. From there, Genie has a talent to search for and draw a Wish, which lets you play Wish, or more gimmicky, it lets you make Wish the action you discard for other benefits. So the cost isn't really a cost. Truthfully, you can freely discard wishes because you can't use them without Genie anyway, who just gets them back with his talent. This only matters if you are wishing twice in one turn. Aladdin is a super support faction to me. This stems largely from the fact that they have a conflicting message in their approach unless you take the gimmick route. Aladdin has the ability to draw a lot of actions, which they can discard for effects. One of those effects is an extra action coming from Jasmine, who is like a weaker Archmage. But what actions are you playing? Of Aladdin's 10 actions, 3 are Wish. Those are typically your discard fodder because Genie gets them back. But they are also probably the best action to play with Jasmine internally. You wouldn't discard an action to play their double feature, A Friend Like Me, because that seems like a waste and may not be a guarantee. Cave of Wonders lets you draw an action from your discard, but again, what are you playing? Realistically, the most likely candidate is either Jafar or Street Rat. Typically, this is where Aladdin gets most of its value for me, but again, it looks externally from the actual faction. In my games with Aladdin, I have largely ignored the discarding of actions part of their faction, because there aren't enough actions to go around. The benefit feels too small, it's more restrictive than Beauty and the Beast, which I think does discarding better, and Aladdin seems to do best when you are supercharging your other faction. If factions like Teddy's are minion support, Aladdin would be action support. They have great action draw power. Aladdin himself gets you 2 actions the turn he is played. Not that you would discard the lamp because that would break the cycle, but it is still card draw. Comparing Aladdin with Space Knight, I personally prefer the guaranteed action draw rather than the chance of an action and slight deck foresight. Aladdin himself is pretty crucial because a successful A Friend Like Me means that the next one will not be as successful, so a hunt style ability is crucial as your deck gets thinner of actions. Though I don't want to spend a lot of time on the discarding of actions sub-theme, I want to talk about Palace Guards because I think this is where expectation and reality often collide. Palace Guards have a local ability to turn an action into a power counter for each Palace Guard. So with 4 Palace Guards, that's a base of 8 power, and each one can discard an action for 4 more power for a total of 16 more and a total of 24. But that would mean you have all 4 in play, and you discarded 4 actions. How do you even get all 4 out, and how do you have so many actions? Truthfully, Palace Guards are basically War Raptors that require a ton of effort, and I wouldn't use Wish to play them because that would be expensive and inefficient. Because of their draw power for actions, the Aladdin combos I do enjoy, which have felt really strong, have largely contained extra actions. This way, if I do need to discard them, I have sufficient fuel to do so, but the actions also need to have a point to playing them. For me personally, I had to consider Aladdin as separate from other factions that just give you +2 actions, because the value of Wish's extra plays is that they can be minions or actions in any combination. In case you were curious, Wish cannot play Titans as cards are played from your hand, so no bringing in Cream Puff Man with a full hand. The first action-heavy faction to talk about is the one with the most actions, Kaiju, and their 17 total actions. Whereas some of the Aladdin actions are only usable in certain contexts, Kaiju actions are always relevant. Kaiju also brings protection for Genie while keeping the relative power level low. With this combo, there are a few actions I don't care about, so I don't mind discarding them, and you can focus on adding a barrage of power. While there are not base modifier synergies to consider, Aladdin gives Kaiju extreme draw power, extra plays, and action recursion. Because playing base modifiers on Gorgonzola draws cards, which are most likely actions, you are well sustained for any benefits you need, and there is plenty of action recursion for Kaiju Conflict, the card that Kaiju could not recur before. My next combo is Arabian Nights, and please know that I don't use this term lightly, but this combo is bonkers. After drawing a bunch of actions, and the Knights have extra, you are left with very powerful minions to draw and play, and they are very Wish-friendly. This combo has potential to use Wish to play the Grail, capture it, and solo a base all in the same turn for 6 or more unanswered points. Imagine playing Arthur and Gawain at the same time, knowing Arthur can pull over a minion to make them stronger. This is one combo where I actually pay attention to Carpet, because it's possible to complete the same quest twice in the same turn. There are a number of ways to do this, but Apu can put an action back on top of your deck, which means Merlin will hit successfully. Even with thinning out actions, Merlin has had a very good success rate in hitting actions, and because of Fisher King liking high hand counts, that is usually the one I double score in the same turn. When you are drawing cards aggressively, your deck gets very thin, and the Mist of Avalon becomes very powerful when you send back 3 key minions into a small deck. When I think of a combo that wants to play 3 or more minions in a turn, Knights definitely come to mind. One thing to note for all Aladdin combos is that while Wish cannot play more wishes, one of the actions can be Jafar, which functions as a conversion to a generic action, so you can wish again. For my final combo, I wanted to focus on what can actually make use of the discarded actions, and the answer is Cyborg Apes. For example, consider Jasmine. If you can discard actions, does it matter if Cyberback can play them onto itself? I was initially concerned about this combo having too much action sifting because of Monkey See, Monkey Do, but it ended up being decent draw overall. I also have more confidence discarding some actions, knowing that Clyde 2.0 can recur the ones I care about, and unlike Aladdin's standard actions, play on minion actions are fairly easily playable. This combo definitely plays towards its endgame of Cyberback. Hunt for actions aggressively, discard as many actions as you need, get to Jasmine and Cyberback. If you can double wish, you can do Juiced Up, Cyber Evolution, and Flying Monkey out of nowhere, preferably after you already did it with Baboom. When you can win and double score twice, it's really hard to lose. You'll notice that I have personally focused on the extra plays of Wish rather than power or card draw. I personally feel like Aladdin has enough draw, and even though I enjoy overdrawing, I have a hard time spending a wish on it. There is the power route, but for that extra 1 power, I personally prefer other combinations. I did play Disco Aladdin trying to copy the 5 power like Disco Dinosaurs, but that combo doesn't have many other secondary plays that intrigue me and felt completely dependent on Genie. It also meant 8 underwhelming recruits and seems very prone to swinginess. However, Aladdin is like a personality test, where player perspective will determine what you wish for, which is why I think this faction will be polarizing. I know some players feel that Wish's individual abilities aren't that worth it compared to the cost involved, and I'll say this. I personally would have liked it if Wish were like Avenger actions in that they had a weaker form that didn't require Genie and required Genie for full potential. Before the Avenger actions got this treatment, they were super frustrating, and I think that Aladdin had to go the extreme consistency route to avoid the same problem. What we are left with is a faction that doesn't excite me much, but I do acknowledge that it excels in extremely synergistic situations. Arabian Nights, in addition to being an excellent shipping name, was one of the best combos I had played in a while, and I felt like I hit their sky-high ceiling multiple times in a row. If you can get past the lack of internal synergy beyond Wish, you might really enjoy this faction. What do you think of Aladdin? Who will you pair with them? Let me know in the comments. Thanks for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe. Let's shut it down.